We have apologies from Jane Hetherington, Councillor Hetherington, Councillor Huxley, Councillor Austin and Councillor Ira. Are there any declarations of interest? No. And the minutes of the last meeting. I was just wondering whether any progress on the temporary part-time administrative support for the neighbourhood plan.
I haven't heard anything, Chair, but I can let councillors know tomorrow. I'll ask the town clerk.
Okay, great. Thanks. Anything else about the last minutes? No. Well, I propose we accept them. Do we have a seconder? Second. And Tony, even though you weren't there. Right, okay. And looking at the planning applications, we're going to look at the Hayne Road one first by special request. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, there it is, yeah. If Dean could get it up. Do you want to talk to this, David, please?
Yeah, just briefly. This is a approval of reserved matters application from previous one in 2014 when outline planning permission was given. At that time, two conditions were put on the application. Condition 36 said that no dwellings should be constructed within the part of the site that falls within noise category C, as set out within the local plan. And condition 35 applied to the rest of the site and said that noise protection matters, that the developer should come forward with noise protection plan for approval by the council before any building took place. Now, I don't know. Oh, and then later on, in 2021, the developer asked for that condition 35 to be removed, but then withdrew it, I guess, after talking to TDC about it. So, as far as I know, that condition still applies. What I don't know, and TDC haven't, although I've asked them, they haven't told me whether they are ensuring that condition is met before they approve this reserved matters thing that's before us now. Now, looking at the site, this development seems so close to the flight path from the airport that I can't believe this would be built at all, but certainly I can't believe that they would allow the removal of that condition. So I just don't know. So what I'm asking council to do is to ask that question through a comment from the council. I'd also like our TDC councillors to call this application in to committee at TDC. That's basically it.
Thank you. So your proposal is just for TDC to ensure that the noise abatement conditions are being complied with?
No, I mean, that would do, it would get it on the agenda, yes.
Yeah, yes. Oh, sorry.
With this number of properties going up, I'm wondering how they're going to supply all the water, because it's 100 litres per person, per household. And after this year, you've had problems, towards the end of the season with water and hosepipe mans. And that's before these places are built. So, and the other thing for me is, what about the disposal of all this sewage?
Sewage.
Because how are they going to manage it when they can't manage it now?
Can I just,
What, I'm sorry.
I was just going to
Yeah.
go from that. So this planning proposal is been on the cards for quite a while, because when the open hearing came to look at the DCO, one of the things that was spoken about was this particular planning permission for these houses back then. That was 2019, I believe. So this has been on the table. So that question, those things have been looked at back then. I mean, I quite agree with you, Councillor Young. I'd like to know the answers to the water and the sewage too, because it seems a lot extra, doesn't it? Plus the fact that it's so close to the airport. So I'm not entirely sure why it was allowed back then, but I definitely would like to know with regards to the current situation.
The planning application has consultee comments, including from Southern Water, who, if my memory serves, said they had no objections to it. I mean, our water comes from aquifers, doesn't it? So we've got to have fairly constant rain all winter.
It was Steve.
Sorry, Steve, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I think there's two issues here.
Yeah.
One, I'm happy to call this in
Right.
to council for a discussion. I think Dave's absolutely right. It's absolutely necessary that something like this is brought into council to discuss. I think we can also make comment of Ramsgate Town Council on the application this evening by asking TDC to ensure that those protective conditions to the houses, windows, draft exclude, everything of that nature is included. And I think, David, just for your point, if they withdrew their application to get rid of that planning condition, then it would stand anyway in relation to the application. However, I think they're the kind of things that we should be talking about, and as Councillor Young says, we need to ensure that there is enough water, there is enough waste removal, it's all done in the right way, and no doubt when the report comes to council it will have all of those issues in it, from Southern Water, Environment Agency, etc, etc. So I'm more than happy to do that, Chair, and I'm also happy to propose that we, as Ramsgate Town Council, that we have no objections, providing that those issues are met.
Yes.
There doesn't have to be no objection, but I mean, we can, whatever way you want to phrase it, but.
I did read something about when the airport goes ahead, the value of those houses will be much reduced. So the developer, I don't know, the developer is
Cutting his costs.
keen, not, anyway, sorry, David.
The problem with the water and the sewerage is because TDC always asks Southern Water to comment, and they always say they'll
No
come.
comment, yeah.
So that really leaves TDC not able to address that further.
Yes, I've
We've
noticed
asked that
that.
before, haven't we?
I tried,
Sorry,
on these big
Louise.
events, I tried to bring Southern Water up every time, because when we went to that Save Our SOS meeting, the ex-CEO said that this is one of the most water-stressed areas in the UK. I'd have to look back at the figures, but it's on Southern Water's own website. I think it's near 80% of our water comes from surface water, which I guess includes that in reservoirs, the aquifer, and also rivers. I think it's about 80%, I'd have to look. And so I cannot see how they can actually say that there isn't a problem, because there already is a problem.
Yes.
So I think it's something that certainly myself and the Greens are keen to bring up on every large development. And it's not just what goes in, it's what comes out the other end, because we know they're not coping at present. And with an additional 17,000 houses, I don't really know how they're going to cope. And I believe KCC will not unblock our drains, because if our drains are unblocked and working, then a whole load of other water gets into that system which is already not coping. So I think there's something very cynical about leaving the drains, not the work not being done on our drains as well. But I intend to bring that up, and I'll have a good read of it.
They have actually started this development.
It's fenced off. I think there's investigations. As you drive through, it's really funny because you've got the landing lights and you've got the Harris fencing. So literally the development goes part way up the landing lights. And I don't know how that can happen. How can that happen? Is there anywhere else in the country where housing is built that close to the landing lights?
Yeah, that's the part of their land though that's covered by condition 36, which said that no dwelling shall be constructed on that part of the site.
That stops you having to have the other landing light on. Sorry, that one. Yeah.
I think they feel they have to fence it off, because then the public can't complain that they were using the land prior to the development.
Sorry, councillor Young.
Didn't they stop building at Nethercourt because of the aeroplanes? They said it wouldn't extend any further. That piece of land was left, from the end of Nethercourt to Lord of the Manor.
I don't know.
They never built on there because of the aircraft.
No, they never built on there because there's an ancient cemetery underneath that land.
Oh, right, I understand.
There's what underneath the land?
An ancient cemetery.
Oh, right, okay. Sorry, councillor Ring.
The farmer out that way is doing considerable earthworks and creating more paddocks, which is a first step of removing A-grade farmland. So there is a considerable amount of earth movement going up there, a massive amount. It's like digger land most days.
Right, so what is our proposal? So councillor Alban has proposed that, I can word this better, that TDC ensures conditions, is this 36 and 35?
36 and 35.
Are in place and met before approval is given, and that enough water can be provided and waste removal is fully in place. But I will word that better for you.
36 and 35 are of the outline.
Outline consent, yeah.
Consent.
Of outline, thank you.
Which is 140050.
140050, lovely. I'll look that up and I'll actually put that into the proposal. So councillor Alban has proposed that. I'll second it. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay.
Thank you kindly.
Eileen,
So we'll go to, you've got to go. Are we still quorate? Oh, you're not going yet?
yeah,
Here we are going now, apologies.
Yeah,
You
we're
are
going
still
now.
correct,
That's
thank
okay, you are quorate.
thank you very much.
So, Clarendon House Grammar School, Clarendon Gardens, is in councillor Wing. But I did notice it's already been passed.
But I can't understand why it came back in then, because it came back to us as councillors.
Right.
So I've
I
seen,
don't remember it, but
there is something going on with what councillors get and what councillors don't get, but I'll come to that at the end.
I know
So has this already been approved by TDC?
it's already been approved by TDC.
There's not a lot we can do about it then, is there?
No. Yeah,
So that we can't comment.
yeah.
I know they're preparing the swimming pool site, the old swimming pool site for development.
Okey dokey.
That's all right, it's okay. I'll withdraw it.
Okay. So the next one's the British Heart Foundation, 33 to 35. Harbour Street, which I've been poring over all afternoon and I can't work out exactly what's going on.
Dean can explain it. to you.
Dean can explain, good.
So this is change of use of park ground floor and lower ground floor convenience store to 1 2-bedroom flat. Yes, you called it in council, make a council ring.
So we've had this one before.
Yeah.
You may remember as well, the courtyard at the back.
Yeah.
And the previous plans were unclear about, we made the comment about access. That's provided through the shop, access, and like if there was a fire. So it's through here to the flat.
Yeah, we were concerned they would have to go through the
Yeah,
shop.
go through the shop. So what's not clear, and I think the design forum have said that as well, there's no apparent means of access. When you have here, they've actually put that their bin stalls here.
Right,
So we're assuming that this is an open courtyard into
Yeah.
Albert Court.
Yeah.
And there is actually a door that comes out from the courtyard.
yeah,
But it's not clear on the plans,
Yeah.
that's just assuming.
They did say that the use of the courtyard was subject to agreement with the neighbours. I think it's a very convoluted, but you can't turn it down because of that.
well, Chair, I think,
Still not clear, is it?
I think we can make an objection to it in relation to the loss of, the shop floor, the shop area on the ground floor, because the ground floor is this, that's going to be turned into a 2-bedroom flat, yeah?
But doesn't the shop area stay? When I was looking at it, it seemed to be there.
And that's exactly what it says.
So the stockroom and store for the shop on the ground floor at the back. So you're still keeping the front of the shop, but it's just converting it at the back.
But in fact, so,
Back.
yeah,
So you would be halving, I suppose, the storerooms.
Yeah.
And you go through the shop to get to the, or you can go through the shop to get to the bike
You
store.
can, that's what's not clear on the plans, whether it's
Yeah.
access from the back or the front.
Yeah,
I think, Chair, sorry, I think all we could say is, providing there is a separate access into the 2-bedroom flat that does not go through
the shop.
the shop itself, then we have no objection, Chair.
Dean, can you see where the access is? Can you show us where the access is?
So, yeah, so you've got the lower ground floor and the ground floor, so that's street level. Which, if you look, that's through the shop for the ground level, but I'm assuming the lower ground level is at the back, where it's like Charlotte Court and House Court, which you can come in through here, through the back.
So they
it's
access
not
it
clear
from,
It's not clear,
which
is it?
The access,
No.
which isn't,
Because it's not showing anything on that,
no,
on the ground floor there, so it doesn't look like there's separate access.
no.
no, and also, I can't quite work out how there are 2 flats there, but maybe I'm being stupid.
On top of each other, aren't they?
Yeah, one's the ground floor at Harbour Street, which is Harbour Street there, and then there's the lower ground, so it goes down into Charlotte Court bit at the back.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit lower.
Sorry, Chair, the application actually says to 1 2-bedroom flat.
And doesn't it say another one as well?
No, it's 1 2-bedroom.
Oh, right, I must have, I read the documentation, which said there were 2. Okay, if there's 1, that's fine-ish. Sorry,
I
yeah.
just wondered, has the shop got access to the yard then? You know, where will they put their rubbish? Will they-
If that's existing,
Will they go through?
but if that's existing, then that's not an issue. If the shop is existing,
Yeah,
then it's not an issue where their rubbish goes.
right,
The only issue you've got here is the flat and where the flat's rubbish goes.
no,
Is the shop on 2 floors? Well, because it looks as if we've got a ground floor and
Yeah,
a,
you've got a lower ground floor
and a lower,
at the back.
so is that a basement?
Just have a look at the building.
Can we have a look at the front? I mean, look at it, that front could do with blowing up.
So,
But that's completely old photograph.
Yeah,
yeah, I know, it's the only one that's on.
No, used to be a really big basement, didn't it?
Yeah, so there you go, so you've got the ground level,
Yeah.
which is Harbour Street, and then at the back it's just slightly lower by one.
Yeah.
have we got a front view of the shop front? Do we know what the shop front's gonna look like?
No, because they're not changing that.
Change.
No change.
There's no change.
Okay.
They say they're not changing the outside of the building,
Yeah.
which is,
I think the room size, Chair, if the room sizes are okay, and
Just.
providing it's got separate access,
only just,
yeah, but it doesn't matter whether it's only just or not. Either they comply or they don't.
minimum.
Or they don't. So if they comply, then that's fine, but if there's no access in its own right to that flat, I think we can put an
I think
in
we
relation.
have access.
But didn't you say that the access is dependent on agreement from the neighbours, so can we?
No.
That bit?
No, the courtyard is dependent on the agreement.
How is the courtyard being used? It's Albert Court, isn't it? It's not ours, so we don't need to worry too much, but it's still significant.
Yeah, I mean, I just, on the way
That's
down, I walked
TDC.
round the back of it and I could not work out what on earth they were doing, but,
Albert Court is TDC owned.
yeah.
That's an internal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a proposal.
Yes, we,
My proposal, Chair.
Councillor Alban's proposal, providing there is separate access into the two-bedroom flat that does not go through the shop, then no objection.
yeah, I will second that.
Vote.
All those in favour, sorry. I'm just wondering whether everything's got windows, but I think it has.
Right as well, because on three sides.
Yeah,
It's all at the back, isn't it?
yeah. Okay, the next one is Addington Street Garage.
It's confusing.
Was this the one we tried to look at before?
No.
Oh, different
Can I
one,
just explain?
yeah.
It'll make sense to Steve, because the other one went to planning. So
Yeah,
the
I
first
got a bit
bit,
confused.
the first bit as you walk down Addington Street, before you get to the garages, that actually the garage and the spray shop, V-Rex, and
It's
there's
not Addington Street, is it?
No, it's Addington Place, so go to Addington Street and take your first right. So you've got the backs of the Western Crescent,
Yep.
and then you've got a building here, and then you move down to what was a sort of a little industrial courtyard really, that it's presently got a laundry in, it had lots of little businesses in, they all went bust. And he put an application in to put, if you remember, to put 6 houses in there.
Yes.
And we told him to remove one. Well, that came to TDC, and TDC, the committee at TDC also felt exactly the same and rejected the application. He sneaked it back in, didn't he?
We didn't sneak it back in, he came in with a totally different plan, so.
No, not that's, he sneaked the original one back in, okay? And fortunately, we were still there and we said, we've had this before, we're just going to reject it. So it just got rejected. That's gone to appeal outside
Yeah.
of TDC. But in the meantime, which confused everybody, he actually put a new application in to just deal with the existing building. And there was, scaffolding went up and the neighbours went a bit berserk. And I actually went and had a look and had a detailed look at those plans. And we saved the flint wall, he'd addressed all the issues. So that plan came to TDC's last planning committee and got approved because it's a sustainable development.
So it's this same plan has already been, this
No,
is a
this
different.
one is a new application from a completely different builder who owns the land further along. So beyond there, you've got what used to be a garage, which has moved to Spain's, and then you've got the spray company, and then you've got about, I would say, 10 or 12 garages. And it's that whole site where there's now this new planning application going in. So it does, yeah, you can see it there. So that's something.
Yeah, we've got a site plan, we've got an actual site plan, so councillor Wynne can then point out where the various bits are then.
It's amazing. I thought he was going to knock the garages down, but it's all
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
So it's the next unit along, they've
Yeah.
started taking out some,
yeah, so it's the next one along, isn't it?
Yeah. They're not actually taking the garages out, so the garages are going to remain.
So the flint wall along the back remains,
Oh, well, no, I've just walked past and some of it's already gone.
what, they've taken it down?
I'll be reporting that tomorrow.
Right,
Whether it fell down or they took it down, I don't know.
they should be preserving it.
So,
Having had a look at,
those,
yes, it's still Ramsgate. I looked at it, there's a lot of qualifications with the application that the details are not really the right details, but the windows do look very strange to me.
very what, sorry, Chair?
Strange. There's no glazing bars on them. And they look as if they're made of aluminium. Oh, no, in their thing, they say they're made of PVC. Does anyone know what that is?
PVC.
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 TP,
We have to Google that.
I don't know.
Yeah, Googled it. But it's a conservation area, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you know, an individual, I've got no objection if the building is suitable to them being aluminium windows. They don't have to be wood, but they do not have to be plastic. Sorry,
That's all right, Chair, thank you. What I can say is that the design of this, on this application is similar to the one that was just approved a couple of weeks ago.
Okay,
It's quite obviously modern as you see it. But it's up to you whether or not you think the design is right, because if it's going to be put in, as it's in the conservation, it has to enhance the conservation area. It needs to enhance it. So it's brick. You've got that great big brick wall, that'll be graffitiised.
No, it's quite quiet down there, actually.
I mean, I don't mind the designs, there's George.
Yeah, the building there, that matches onto the what's just been approved. So it's likely that the planning officers would see it as a, if you like, an extension of what's just been approved. I think it'll fit all right in the street scenes.
I think
It's very tight down there. Dean, can you show me, because sometimes they exaggerate on the parking. We've got a size which actually doesn't reflect a size car. Have we got the original footprint? So that was the issue with the last one, that when he wanted 6 buildings, he went beyond the existing footprint of the building, and it created a massive issue in there. Because there are other people who've got to gain access to that bit. So what I'd like to know is this building going to, how much, is it going to extend beyond the original footprint of the garages that are there? They're big units, they're big. Is that the original?
Yeah.
So actually it goes,
Where it's highlighted in red, that's the footprint for this application,
so that's the whole footprint, but what I'm looking at is the building footprint. Because you've got,
well, the building is on it.
can you go back to the original one? So
Yeah, so it looks the same.
it looks smaller, so.
Well, it looks on the one end it looks smaller.
Is that a building? Is
Yeah.
all that bit there a building?
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
So I'm going to put my finger there.
There you
So
go.
If you go back again, I'll put my finger here. So I think it probably comes out here because that's a parking area there. And then there's sort of like a dropped back garage, and then these two come forward. So he hasn't really gone beyond. And if you go back, in front of here, there is normally transit vans parked. So it does look as if it will be okay.
yes. I have no objections to it.
I've got no objection.
So I'll propose no comment.
Second, Chair.
Can we have a vote, please?
Yeah,
Where it's there and then it's,
yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting that nobody locals complained about this one.
No,
right. And because it's got parking as well. I know the previous one of the reasons they turned it down was lack of parking.
There wasn't any parking and there were 6
Yeah.
houses.
I thought you weren't allowed.
that's why we asked for one
It
at
was
the
in-
end house to
it's
go
in-
to allow parking, but they
It's
wouldn't do it.
inside the sustainability area, isn't it, where you don't have to have parking?
Yeah.
Right, anyway, those in favour of saying no comment, please.
We'll hold them to the 4 trees though.
Hello, members?
Yeah.
And you, Tony. Right, there we go. Right. Then Liverpool Lawn. 19 Liverpool Lawn.
Called in by councillor Wing.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on Liverpool Lawn. Sometimes I'm not sure whether it's gone through planning or not.
Well, this obviously has.
This
Oh,
is a
yes.
single-storey rear extension together with internal and external alterations.
so the previous application back in 2019 was to remove the shed. And then
Yeah.
basically put
Remember that.
a lean-to up there. So just show from there, so you've got the existing shed, then they're moving to put
Yes,
an
that,
uninsulated, unheated lean-to on the back.
yeah, I can't see what to do with that.
So is that all they're doing? They're putting,
Yeah, Chair, I think as long as the materials match the existing building, then I've certainly got no objection to it whatsoever.
I will second that.
No, it's all right.
All those in favour? Out for a vote. 49A Harbour Parade.
This is we visited this site, this is hugely complex. So this is the old Delphi, isn't it, Dean? Is it the old Delphi? It's the old Delphi restaurant that
Yeah, yeah.
started being pulled to bits before there was any planning.
The one they've taken the floor out of.
No, that's the one next door, which I've just reported, there's no planning application. So we kept an eye on the Delphi and he took the doors off and he was forced to put the doors back. But the internal workings are absolutely ridiculous. So we visited the neighbours next door and they have the extractor fan spewing out onto their balcony. So me and Tricia went and spent about an hour with the neighbours. They took us up onto their balcony, so we went and reported this to planning and to building control. And clearly, they've been forced to put another planning application in to put right. They even had, it was the same building, and bearing in mind it's got fryers on the go, so we reported him to the fire brigade as well, because there was, the fire alarm system it was not attached to this building, so if the fryers had gone up in flames, this building would not have been alerted to a fire that would have engulfed the rest of the building. So we had to report quite a lot. So I think he's been told to shift the extractor fans, but I know Tricia has actually sent a whole load of questions to ask, what does this mean? Because we don't understand extractor fans.
Well, this is air conditioning units.
Yeah, well, it's not just that, it's the fryer, it's the stuff from the fryers.
Yeah,
So
but we can only deal with this application.
I think that's what it's unclear what they're talking about. So Tricia's emailed back planning to say, can you give us a clear indication of whether you mean air conditioning units or the fryer units?
Well, these are talking, so effectively what you're talking about is our existing extractor fans.
We don't know because it's unclear what they're actually.
But they want air conditioning units.
We're not sure.
Well, that's what's on the
Yeah.
application, so that's that's all we can comment on
What
in relation to the air conditioning units. So the only thing, depends where they are located, does it say where they're located?
Dean, what are they called on the plans?
AC units.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So the existing AC are here along the building, and then they're gonna put them over onto the wall.
So they're relocating,
Relocating, yeah.
or they already have, because it doesn't say retention of, so they want to relocate.
Relocating.
So then, providing that they have no impact on the conservation area, it's not listed, The only other issue that you can,
His impact on neighbours.
yeah, is the noise from the actual air conditioning units.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think really all we could say is, providing that they are properly baffled in relation to the units, to stop any noise from affecting adjacent buildings, I think that's fine. to be
It's
honest.
something to building control will look.
Yeah,
Well-
they did a lot of work without building control.
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
That's the extractor fan there, actually. You see that thing going up the side of the building?
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
it goes onto their balcony. When you go up
Yeah.
there, it's like,
Yeah, it's
it's like
stunning.
being in the kitchens at McDonald's.
Yeah, it's stinks, yeah.
Seriously. So I think Steve's right. I think we just need to question the impact, the potential impact on neighbours. But has this been done to reduce the impact in one area? Because they're clearly moving them from one
Yeah,
place to
yeah,
the
yeah,
other.
I reckon they must have had complaints.
There's quite a lot
Oh, there was massive.
goes on in the back of shops. So, you know, Saltworks, he's got a problem with, I think it's Zest at the back, spewing there.
Yeah.
And he won't do anything about it except moan to me. But I said, you've got to,
He has needs to get us out and we'll report it.
well, no, he's got to talk to them first. And,
Okay,
So what's our motion? That we're okay as long as.
we have no comment, but building control must.
well, no, it's not building control, because it would, the issue of the noise will come under environmental health. So it would be, if they approve it, there will be a condition on the planning consent that will relate to the level of noise, which would then be monitored by environmental health should it continue. So my view would be that we offer no objection, providing that all effort is made to baffle the noise from the air conditioning units.
Okay, got it. Right. I need a second.
Oh, I'll second it, yeah. All those in favour?
Yeah, it's very confusing, this one.
Yeah, it's
Because it was all
difficult.
done wrong.
Yeah.
So you don't really know what you're talking about.
And the last one, Richmond Road, you call this in as well, councillor Wing, on the basis that there's already a high concentration. It's already looks after teenagers.
Why is this application in then?
Because-
It's change of use from dwelling house to children's home for up to 3 children.
So what it's going from.
8 to 18.
It's going from a regulated home
Yeah,
that is covered, if it's kids of 8 to 18, that is covered by Ofsted, to an unregulated property. So it's housing, it's classed as housing association where there is there's no regulations monitoring these buildings. So that's my concern. These buildings are going under the radar. So if you've got a care home for adults, it's covered by the CQC. And if you've got a children's home, which this is, then presently it's covered by the Ofsted.
It's going
this will be
from a
children.
dwelling house, which is an ordinary house, to a children's home. So presumably that will be regulated.
Not necessarily, unfortunately.
Who's the applicant, Dean? Does it say who the applicant?
the dwelling house is not a straightforward dwelling house.
Yes, it
It's
is.
for older children.
No, it's not what it says.
That's what it
It's not what it says here.
It's a house becoming a
It
children's
says
home.
it's a change of use from a dwelling house to a children's home.
Okay,
That's my
Right.
issue.
Form.
So,
Having a look at the form to see
Have a
who's
look
the
at the
applicant
form,
is in this
yeah.
I
case.
think what you've got to realise is as well, that for up to 3 children, and we're only talking 3 children here.
yeah.
No, I mean, it could be mum, dad and 3 kids anyway, so, because what the issues,
I know the guy that's put this application in. So in this area, you have a,
Well, can we just see the form, because I have a feeling it is already something. I know you're all disagreeing with me, but,
I'm only saying what's on the thing, Chair,
yeah, but I read it on the form.
it's the same company that runs Liberty Group on Paragon. on Paragon House. Albert Street.
C3,
Existing use is currently used as a semi.
there you go,
For young adults of
16 years. So it's not a normal family house.
But it is, Chair, it is, but they don't need, as it's currently run, they don't need planning consent to change the use of the house. For instance, you could be a foster parent and be bringing in children to foster children. That doesn't change the use of the house. So they want to formally change the use of the house to a children's home. But as it currently is, they do not need that.
There's 16 plus age group as well, that currently in there.
If it's going from a dwelling house, because social services are my school background, it's not as, so there wasn't, it's not a normal house, you're right, Pat, it's not a normal house where people rent or own the property.
It's in planning.
It's been used as a care facility.
Yeah, and there is an adult there, 24/7.
Four young people, obviously, and it's moving from a dwelling house that's independent, semi-independent living to a children's.
So does anybody know if there's been any problems there?
There's quite a lot of problems around there, because what you've got around there is a real bad mix of vulnerable adults living close to a mother and baby unit. I think you've got independent adults with learning disability who are vulnerable, and then you've got another supported living place. So there's quite a high intensity of care providers, some of whom shouldn't be near each other because of their vulnerabilities.
If we were in a position to refuse this, it wouldn't make any difference.
Well, it's the same as HMOs, isn't it? How many HMOs do we want in a road?
But there is a rule about HMOs that they can't be within 300
100 metres.
100 metres.
Well, I don't know. Is there a rule about care homes being?
But it's already, as it's a semi-independent.
Just because it's already there doesn't mean to say we have to agree with what it becomes. You know, this is our chance to actually say, look, even for the good of the vulnerable adults and the vulnerable children, maybe they shouldn't be in that vicinity together. So you've got adults that are getting themselves into mischief actually near vulnerable children. It's not a good mix at all.
Yeah, but I think what you've got to look at, you're looking at one application, and you've got to deal with that one application. You can't take into account.
No, because you can look at impact on neighbours.
Yeah,
so
yes, you
there is an impact on neighbours.
You can, but there's also currently young adults living there as well at the moment. So to actually then refuse the change of use to a children's home, which would then be regulated, because it would have to be regulated. They would have to be. I don't know whether they have to be.
If they're under 18, it will be Ofsted. If they're over 18, it will be the CQC.
So I think, I hear what you're saying, Becky, but
I think
really
we should
don't think
still,
it's an issue.
I personally will air my views that I think I would like to propose that we have concerns about the density of care providers.
But it's already there as a care provider.
Well, you could use that argument with Manston Airport, couldn't you? Why are we objecting to something that's always been there?
No, it's functioning as an airport. It's functioning as a semi.
They'll get the airport in.
Living.
Come on, let's just get on with the application.
But it's the same thing. This application has come in, which gives us a chance to say something.
Right.
So my motion would be, on my proposal, that we have concerns about the mix of care providers in the close vicinity of this application, and the impact on neighbours, and the impact that those vulnerabilities of those adults and children living close together has.
Right, is anyone seconding that? No.
No.
Well, I shall propose that we have no comment on this. Does anyone second?
I'll second that.
All those in favour of my motion? No?
Against? Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's it then.
Well, thank you, Chair.
Note the date of the next meeting is
Next
the
meeting.
2nd of November.
Where's this year going, eh?